Why, hello. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Carly. Welcome to
SVU Sisters Sunday, where we talk about Law & Order SVU episodes and compare them to their real-life cases.
This week, we will be discussing Season 1, Episode 4, the case of Victor Grant.
Victor Grant! Alright, so we're just gonna jump on in. Season 1. Hysteria. Benson and Stabler arrive on the scene. Dead, or is she? First officer on the scene. Officer, excuse me, D'Angelo. He goes, you know what he goes? He goes, she's don't waste your time on this one. You know what? Olivia gets mad.
Yeah, she's like, excuse the hell out of me.
Yep.
She is a victim, clearly.
She is clearly a victim here. Okay, so why they think she's a She just dressed for a night out on the town. It was hot that night. She got a new boo. Okay, she wants to look cute. So, it doesn't mean she's a god.
So they do investigate like good cops.
You know it. At the scene, they find powder on her fingers from what they think are police issue gloves. Actually, they know it's police issue gloves. They think the scene could possibly be contaminated because they just don't believe that an officer could do such a thing. They'd be wrong. They hit the streets and they're like, you know what? They think she's... Let's go talk to others. They find out there's more victims and this person is a serial killer.
That's right. They're very reluctant to talk to the police because of their professions, but...
Yes.
A couple girls do talk.
They do, and they come up with a name. D'Angelo.
Who dat?
D'Angelo.
On the scene.
Officer.
Not looking good.
They're like, you know what? We're gonna go talk to our colleagues. Screw D'Angelo.
Yep.
So while they're investigating, they're like, oh, you think D'Angelo's bad? Mm-hmm. You should hear about his partner, Officer Ridley. He's way worse. Yep. They're like, really? They're partners. Well, and they get an arrest warrant for Ridley. They're like, you know what? We know it was you. You did it. It's you. We know it. You're guilty. You're going to jail.
They bring him in.
They bring him in. He's like, you know what? I did it. I killed all those except for that one she's not. That one right there. You know who that was? Tracy!
She wasn't.
Surprise! Who saw that coming?
And Olivia Benson.
Naturally. They go to his house to arrest him, and he's like, yep, it was me. Suckers. Ha, ha, ha. He's like, back to the drawing board with this one, though, because that wasn't me. Nope, get the record right. I didn't do that one. These ones are me. That one's not me. Okay?
So who did that one?
That's the question of the day. So who murdered Tracy?
At the scene, not only did they find police edition gloves, they found a partial footprint. Not any footprint of any regular shoe. This is an $820 pair.
Who buys that?
Of shoes. Only 9 sold in the world, so it nailed down the suspect pool considerably.
Her little boyfriend was on that list. Her little boyfriend, Dennis. Little Denny.
On the DL, though.
On the DL.
Because he had a fiance.
He did have a fiance. And mommy does not approve of black girls. Doesn't matter if she came from a good family or not. Doesn't matter if the family is respected in the community.
Or if she's got $800 pair of shoes.
They don't care. They're like, you know what, she's black. Nope. And you know what we say to mommy? I'm sorry, that was rude.
Beep.
We mean They realize little boyfriend, little Romeo, has got these $800 pair of shoes. So they're like, we're going to find these shoes because we're going to match them to the print at the crime scene. We're going to do it. They search everywhere. They search his gym locker, they search his house, they search mommy's house. They search everywhere and cannot find these shoes. So they go back to mommy. They're like, where are you at? We need to talk to him. We need to find these shoes.
Where's Dennis?
Where's Denny? Little Denny comes home. And you know what? This is wearing the shoes.
He's wearing the shoes.
He's wearing the shoes.
And that's a wrap.
You know what? Got him.
He's like,
turn around.
But it wasn't me. I wouldn't do that.
Turn around.
I'm
Put your hands
engaged.
behind your back. Turn around.
But the mom's like, well, why didn't you tell me about this girl then?
Totally hiding.
Killed that girl.
He killed her.
Not the officer.
You want to know why he killed her? Because not only was he rejected by her.
Because she was a virgin. He wanted
That's
to get
right.
down. She
And
didn't want to get down.
She wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready.
She was ready. You got to be ready for these things.
He got offended.
And he went for it anyway.
And then he killed her.
He sure did.
And just left her in the freaking alley.
He sure did. Just left her like she was a piece of trash. That poor girl.
But the way she was killed was exactly like how all these other actual
Yeah.
victims were killed too. They realized that Officer Ridley
Ridley.
did all those.
So he copied Ridley's MO. So he'd be a copycat. He tried to pin it on that fool, and that fool was like, nope, it wasn't me, it was somebody else. Nice try. And then, that's it. That's the end of the episode. People versus Victor Grant. Victor Grant, New Orleans, police officer. The police suspect, a fellow officer in the and murder of a young woman and her friend who work at a casino. The reason why they suspect Victor Grant is because this particular victim is unlike the rest.
There are several.
There are several. They are looking to solve a string of 24 murders in the New Orleans areas of mainly, not all, but mainly who have been either suffocated or strangled to death.
To death.
To death.
To death.
And they're like, you know what, this police officer might have something to do with it because his girlfriend's dead now. His woman's dead, and her friend's dead, and she works at a casino, so we think he did it for the money. We think it's this guy, Victor Grant. Okay, so they're trying to pin all 24 murders on him. He's like, not me. The killer began attacking in August of 1991. Or so they thought. In 1991, the killer claimed 7 victims that year alone. Most of the victims were female, however, 5 were male. Only after bringing in the FBI, they announced that they were looking at a serial killer across 12 different states.
Jesus.
And they also asked the public for help during this investigation. They made a public announcement and they're like, yo, we need your help. Help me.
And other people be like calling in.
This is true. They're like, I think it's this guy over here. I think it's that guy over there. A police sketch was released of a muscular black man that law enforcement suspected to be Victor Grant. Victor Grant was black. At the time, they knew that there was a black man at large murdering
Were they all
and such.
Were they all black?
No, the races vary.
And the genders?
And the genders
Wow.
vary. And the ages vary. The link was made to an officer by victim Sharon Robinson and friend Karen. We'll just say Karen I.
Iverster. Karen I.
You got it? Not Karen, but Sharon was Victor Grant's girlfriend. Because neither of them were they thought it was Grant. However, Grant was never actually charged with any of the crimes because not a single shred of evidence could put Victor Grant at a single crime scene with any of the victims. His girlfriend was the only victim that they could tie Victor Grant to, even though they were trying to pin 24 murders on this poor man. At the time, Victor Grant looked like who we now know to be the real serial killer, Sam Little.
Like he looked like him?
He
like
physically looked like Sam Little. He had the same body type, same structure, and he was around the same age. Officers matched most of the victims off of general descriptions because some of the victims were too badly decomposed to be properly identified, which also creates the debate of how many victims did Sam Little actually claim. He holds the record. As of right now, in the United States, he has the most confirmed victim count out of any serial killer in the whole history of the United States. They've linked him to 66 victims. They have ties but cannot directly connect him to an additional, I believe it was an additional 70. The total count was a little over 150. He claims to have killed only 93.
Only 93.
He doesn't remember names. He doesn't remember very much of anything other than their faces and the act that he had committed to them. Sam Little didn't get caught until 2012. At the time, they did not realize that this was the Sam Little case. They thought it was the Victor Grant case. He was killing from 1950s until 2012 when he was caught and charged with these murders. If you want to get technical, he got away with it. He lived his entire life as a serial killer. Over 12 different states. He was actually convicted in 4 separate states of murders of the 60 that they could connect him to. And he had a lot of survivors, and that is also how he got caught. But also, he didn't get caught until 2012.
It hadn't even been solved by the time Law and Order aired this episode, but it kind of ended similarly. There was a whole and a law enforcement possibility, and it actually I'm doing this. I can't figure out the right words. A lot of good actual references to the real case on the show.
The storyline that the Law and Order producers used is very closely matching to the case of Victor Grant, or if you will, Sam Little. This did happen in New Orleans. Mr. Little, screw that, I'm not calling him that. Where Sam Little spent most of his time.
Sam Little, man.
He always kind of gravitated back to New Orleans. He is from Ohio.
What the alright. Maybe there's just, he likes the pickings out there. Or perhaps the
That's
jambalaya.
part of the reason why he was able to get away with it for so long, is because he didn't stay in one place for very long. When he's like, you know what, I'm going to kill these 3 people over here, I'm going to bounce, and I'll be back for another few victims. So I'll bounce, go kill a few people over here, go kill a few people over there, and we'll just come back to New Orleans when I think it's safe. And that's pretty much what he did. And poor Victor Grant almost went to prison for 24 murders that Sam Little committed. There was not a single shred of evidence to tie him to a single victim, so he definitely dodged a bullet there because it was not Victor Grant. However, they did not know that at the time, and they really thought it was Victor Grant. The comparison. The way these people were murdered in the show compared to the real life, that is 100% true. They were either suffocated with a bag over their head, or they were strangled with something around their neck. And he did leave a lot of survivors. So for them to have survivors in the show, as well as compared to the actual case, that is true as well. They also suspected that it was a cop in the TV show and in real life. Most of the victims were And also, the cop in the real life case and the cop in the storyline both did not murder the odd man out, if you will. Where Tracy was not a to where Victor Grant's girlfriend was not a so the odd man out in each scenario was not committed by the cop. In fact, in the real life case, the cop didn't even do a single murder. Also, in the show versus real life, Sam Little's mother was a and the police officer's mother was also a too, and which is why they both targeted, or at least why Sam Little mainly targeted opposed to just your regular average Joe. However, it seemed to me Sam Little didn't really have that much of a preference. If he saw a lady, doesn't matter age, didn't matter race, if he saw a lady standing alone or walking alone in the middle of the night, walking through a cemetery, a park, whatever, gotcha. The storyline, the episode versus the actual case are actually very similar. They started looking at the cop, realized they had somebody else. They did charge the cop in the series, but they didn't charge the cop in real life because there was not a single shred of evidence to connect him to any single victim. I think that about wraps it up. Again, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Carly.
And we are
SVU
Sisters. We'll see you next Sunday.
No, done.